live English lesson where you can ask me questions about this crazy and weird language called English. I just want to say I was surprised to see that there were 108 people waiting for me to get started. That is just awesome. So thank you so much for being here. If you are wondering what this is an English question and answer lesson. Ask me questions about this. Just making sure the audio is working. Everything sounds pretty good. But this is an English question and answer lesson. I am a language teacher, and if you are here for the first time, I am someone who also teaches English on YouTube, and I love to answer questions about this crazy and weird language, but it's also a beautiful language, I think. So here's how this works. In the chat, over there, or down there, wherever the chat is on your screen, please have English conversations with the other students who are here. In the chat, you will see a link to a form that you can use to ask me a question. I will take the questions from the forum and I will paste them into the chat as I try to answer each one. Please be patient. Please keep the chat. I never know where to point. Please keep the chat in English only and use it to practice your English as we do this lesson. So let me jump over to the very first question and you will see how this works if you are new here. As I'm pasting this in, I'm reminded that I need to thank all of my members who have joined this channel to help support me. Thank you so much for clicking that join button and helping me just do what I do. You guys are awesome, all of you out there. The question is, this is from Nora. Hi, Bob. Wishing you happy Easter weekend or happy Easter holidays. Can you please explain to me the difference between the words under and below? Is there any difference between them? So the only real difference between them is we tend to use the word under more than the word below. They mean the same thing. So this red pen right now is below the white pen. This red pen is under the white pen. You could use either. There's a table right here. I could say that this pen is under the table, or I could say this pen is below the table. I think actually, now that I think about it, they do mean the same thing, and I think we use both of them almost equally. Like, I need to go under the car in order to check something. I need to go below the car. We would use under in that situation, but they do mean the same thing. So when you are talking about something that is under something, it is below it. It means the same. Whoa, there are a lot of questions all of a sudden. Let me go as quick as possible. Valerie, good morning, Bob. Good morning, Valerie. I heard that in the USA, millions lost their jobs in the last month. Is Canada going to be the same? Yes. There are many people in Canada who have been laid off. In English, when you say that you are laid off, it means that the place where you work tells you to stay home and they stop paying you. So you're not fired. When you're fired, you never go back to the job. So if you do a bad job at work and you get fired, it means that that job is over. When you get laid off, it means the boss says, hey, we don't have any work for you. You're laid off for 1 month. At the end of that month, hopefully we have more work and you can come back. So slight difference between those two things. And then, is the same thing happening in Canada? Yes. Is John Deere a good tractor? So I have 2 John Deere tractors and I do really, really like them. They are great tractors. If any of you are wondering what a tractor is, it is the vehicle that you use on a farm. Let's see here. Next question is from Vitaly. Hi, Vitaly. Smirnov. Hello, Teacher Bob. How is it going there? Hope everyone watching this video is doing well. Thank you for the sentiment, Vitaly. Russia is in full sail, overtaking COVID leaders. So yes, we are still around the world seeing a growth in the amount of people that have this disease. I really hope we find a vaccine quickly or a treatment. Nama says, how can I improve my English? A little correction there to the question. Sorry to pronounce, I'm just messing it all up. How can I improve my pronunciation? So there's a few things you can do. Read out loud, talk to yourself out loud. shadow or repeat what people say on a television show or YouTube video that you are watching. So listen to a little bit of a YouTube video and hit pause, and then repeat what the person has said and try to sound like them. You can record your own voice and then listen to it and try to figure out where you're making pronunciation problems or mistakes. And then lastly, you can hire someone as an English tutor. That's the last thing that I would recommend. So use a website like Cambly or italki or Preply to do that. Let's see here. I have to correct this question, just a sec. Let's see here. So the correct word here, Chico, is manure, okay? So Chico says, hi, dear teacher, do you keep lambs because of manure for flowers? So manure is animal poop. Chico originally used the word shit, which is a very slang term for poop or manure. So we don't use that word a lot in English. So the correct word would be manure. And are you growing vegetables or buying everything in the grocery store? Have a good weekend. We do have sheep and goats and lambs because we do use the manure as fertilizer for our flowers. So when we clean out the sheep and goat pens in the areas where they are, we compost it for 1 year and then we use it as fertilizer. And we are not growing a lot of vegetables, just a few tomatoes. We are buying all of our vegetables. Let me clean up the questions here, everybody, and we will get to the next one. So, Deekshanch, sorry I skipped your question yesterday. Yesterday, Deekshanch asked a question and I totally did not answer it. So anyways, today Deekshanch says, do you ever use the word thrice in Canada? I have heard that it's rarely used by native English speakers. For some reason, it's still used in India. So once, twice, thrice, like we don't say that word at all. It is so, let me look up how rare is thrice in English. Let's see here. How common is thrice? It's somewhat common in America, but it's rare for us to use that word for sure. It's definitely on the list of words that are rare. Let's see here. Lily from Vietnam. Hi, Teacher Bob. Is the English the same meaning as the British to call people from the UK? And what are the ways to talk about future events besides will? So first of all, when I refer to people from Britain or the UK, I call them British, or I sometimes will say the English. Usually when we say the English, we're talking about history. So yesterday when I did a lesson on Canada, I probably mentioned the English and the French. That's how we would talk about them in a historical conversation. But certainly we would refer to them now as British, people from the British Isles. The problem with Britain is there's England and Britain and the UK, and it gets confusing for some people to know which is which. You had a second question. You can say, I will go shopping, or you can say, I'm going to go shopping. So I am going to go shopping, or I will go shopping. Both different ways to talk about the future. Let's see here. This one's going to be tricky. It's a grammar question. Hello, sir. My question is, I heard a native British teacher say, will can also be used to talk about the past. Is it true about this sentence, they will have gone? So, yeah. So, this is a tricky one, and it's hard for me to answer. So you should probably look this up in a different video. But when you use the conjugation will have done or will have gone, usually you're saying things like, today, once they will have gone to the store, then they'll go to the pharmacy. So you're setting things in the future in a different order. You're asking, though, about using will have gone in the past. Yeah, I can't think of an example of that right now, so sorry about that. And this is why it's tricky for me to do grammar. So last week after he would have gone, I would say that. Last week after he had gone. So I'm not sure I would say last week after he, yeah. So it's a tricky one. So anyways, let me move on. Sometimes Bob the Canadian can't answer the question. It happens sometimes. Oh, I just deleted everybody's stuff. One moment here. Sorry, that was a big, I literally deleted all the questions, but thankfully there is an undo feature in every piece of software. That was a bit of a mistake. Next question is from Alina. Hi, Alina. I have trouble saying your last name. Ustyanseva. Hopefully that's right. Hi, Teacher Bob. What other phrases can I use to say that I feel energized? So you can say, obviously, I feel energized. I have lots of energy today. I feel excited. You can say, I'm looking forward to, or you can say, I can't wait. So let's say that you are energized for the day. You could say, I can't wait to get my day started. You could say, I'm full of energy. That would be another way to say it. You could just say, I feel great. That would be another way to say it. And sometimes I say, I feel great today. I slept well. Usually how I feel is related to how I slept the night before. Let's see here. Next question. Wee says, good morning, Teacher Bob. What is the difference between how is it going? I added an it there. How is it going? And what is going on? Thank you so much. So both of these mean the same thing. If I say to someone, how's it going? Or if I say, what's going on? They are both greetings, basically saying, how are you? How are things going for you today? Yeah, I'm sure Ackner will get taken care of in a sec, but please don't ask questions in the chat, and then certainly don't ask the question over and over again in the chat. It just gets, Todd and Dave just have to take care of those things and keeps them busy, but it's just better to use the forum. Thank you very much. Ruslan has the next question. Ruslan says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you? I'm good. Could you explain the difference between the words merely and barely? How should I use them right? Best wishes from Russia. So merely means like hardly at all. And barely would almost mean the same thing. So he was, I keep thinking, you know, he was, let me look up an example. I don't use the word merely a lot. So I'm going to use the internet. Like if I say I fell down and hit my head, but I was barely hurt at all, it means that I didn't get hurt much at all. If I say he was merely asking if his answer was right, that means that he was only doing that. So I don't know. I don't think I'm explaining these well, but certainly here's an example. We've just barely got started on this live lesson. So that means that it's, 12 minutes after 11 for me. So we've just gotten started. We've barely gotten started. We have another 46 minutes to go, 48 minutes to go. I can't do math. But to use the word merely, I would say something like it was merely, I can't think of an example. So I'm going to move on. Hopefully, Ruslan, you can find an example of it. Maybe Dave or Todd can find an example of a sentence with the word merely in it. But I'm certainly failing at it. You know what makes me laugh in life? when I can't think of something, it just cracks me up. When you say that something cracks you up in English, it means it makes you laugh. Here's the next question. Kiara, hello, Mr. Bob. How can I improve my confidence while speaking English? Let me correct that. How can I improve my confidence while speaking English? Thank you. Stay safe. Just do it a lot. It is the best recommendation that I can give you. The best way to become more confident in anything in life is to do it quite often. Okay, so make sure that you find as much time as possible to have English conversations with people. That is simply the best way to do it. Let's see here. Rami Solip says, Solip, what is the traditional drink in your region? That depends. So I just see so much spam in the chat this morning. Thank you, Todd, and thank you, Dave. It looks like you guys have your work cut out for you this morning. So thank you so much for taking care of that. The traditional drink in my region, non-alcoholic. I think the traditional drink would be coffee. Many Canadians drink coffee in the morning. And if I was to talk about alcoholic beverages, I would say probably beer is a traditional drink in Canada. We have many different breweries that make different types of beer. So that would be my two. Non-alcoholic coffee, and alcoholic, I think, would be beer. Nathan GR, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? I have two words for you, blackmail and extortion. Thanks in advance. So blackmail is when you know that somebody did something illegal and you tell them that you are going to tell the police unless you give them money, okay? So if I knew that somebody did something really, really wrong, I would, if I was a bad person, I could say, give me $100 or I'm going to tell the police. That would be blackmail. Extortion is somewhat similar. Extortion can be simply give me money or I will rob your store. Like it's a threat, like you need to give me money or I will carry out this threat. So both are illegal in all countries of the world, but they do still happen sometimes. Let's see here. Next question is Dan from Russia. Good day, sir. Could you enlighten me about the difference between apt and tend? Cheers. So when you use tend to, so I'm apt to drink tea during my live streams, okay? That means there's a good likelihood. That means that I will most likely drink tea. You could also say that I tend to drink tea during my live streams. That means most times when you join my live stream, you will see me drinking tea. So just a reminder once again. So Panthera Nori as a member asks, is blackmail like to threaten? Yes, very similar. Like, you know, if you watch a movie where there are really bad people, they might say, give me $100 a week or I'm going to smash your store windows. That would be certainly extortion. Let me see here. What was I talking about? App and 10, that one's done. Oh, I was just going to mention, please, those of you who are joining now that we're at the 600 people mark and the chat gets full, please use the chat to have cool English conversations between each other. That would be awesome. And please use the form to ask questions. Next question is from Hamoud Alanazi. Hello, Bob. How are you coping with the curfew in Canada? So the word to cope, when you are coping with something, it means how are you handling it? How is it going? I'm doing okay with curfew. We are not in lockdown. We are allowed to go out, but only one person is allowed to go out, and they are only really allowed to go out to get groceries. They are enforcing that. So if you are out in a group of people, you can now get a fine. So that's a little bit more strict than it was 1 week ago. Let me clean up my questions here. As I do that, can I just mention a few things? Please remember that this live lesson is available tomorrow with English subtitles. If at any point you don't understand parts of what I'm saying, I encourage you to rewatch those parts tomorrow. Also, if you are new here, there is a subscribe button, probably there, maybe there. It's a big red button. Please do subscribe to my channel. I do have new video lessons every Tuesday, live English lessons every Friday morning, Eastern Standard Time, and then this live question and answer session every Saturday. So you are welcome to subscribe. And then lastly, thank you so much to everyone who has joined my channel. If you see people in the chat with their name in green with a little crown, those are my supporters and I very much appreciate you. If you are interested in supporting me, there is a join button somewhere as well. So let's move on with the lesson though. Let's see here. Next one is from Fabio. We're dealing with crime a lot today. Fabio is from Italy, says, hi Bob, could you please explain to me if both break out and bust out mean escape or let someone escape? So when you break out of prison or when you bust out of prison, it means that you escape. So if you are in prison or you are in jail, so the police have arrested you, you are in prison or jail. If you escape, we say that when you break out or bust out of prison, it means that you escape. So yes, and then was there a second part? Oh, you can let someone escape. Yes, for sure. That's different. That's when you leave the door open to the jail cell and then you look the other way. That would be you letting someone escape. Or maybe a police officer is chasing someone and they can't run fast enough and the person gets away. We would say that they have escaped, or you let them escape, or let them get away. That would be another way to say it in English. Next question is from Vita from Ukraine. Could you explain the difference between priceless and invaluable and the verbs to defend and protect? Thank you in advance. So when something is priceless, it's actually worth a lot of money. When something is invaluable, it's worth a lot of money. It might seem like it should be the opposite, but if you have a priceless diamond, it means it's worth a lot of money. If you say this jewelry is invaluable, it means that it's actually very, very, very valuable. I'm going to look up the meaning of invaluable, give you the actual definition from a dictionary. Extremely useful, indispensable, or expensive, invaluable. So even though it seems like it's saying it's not valuable, it's very, very valuable. Elias Gomez, hello, Professor Roberto. How are you? Everything okay? I'm here again. Well, hello, Elias. It is good to see you here again. Thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate super chats. And for those of you that gave super chats so that I could buy Oscar dog treats, we will be doing that this evening. A week and a half ago, I did a lesson on pets, and some of you gave super chats saying, buy Oscar something nice. So we will buy Oscar some treats tonight, and I think he will really, really like that. So thank you, Elias, for the super chat. Let's see here. Next one. Ulysses says, good morning, Bob. What's the difference? Just a little correction there. What's the difference between hold up, hold on, hold your peace? So hold up has a couple meanings. So when I go slowly and Jen wants to go fast, and she has to wait for me, I would say that I am holding her up, okay? Jen could say to me, what's the hold up? That's a very common English phrase. If Jen is going really fast, if she's walking to our van really fast and I'm really slow and she really wants to go where we're going and I'm being slow, she could say to me, what's the hold up? Basically saying, why don't you speed up a bit? Hold on is something you say when you want someone to wait. So you could say, okay, hold on. Just a minute, let me get the next question. Hold on, just a minute, let me tie my shoe. So when you say hold on, you're asking someone to slow down. But it also means if I was going to drive something really, really fast, I could say to my passengers, hold on, we're going to go really fast. And that means I'm literally telling them to hold on to something because I'm going to drive quickly. I hope that made some sense. And as for hold your peace, basically it's similar to saying be quiet. Speak now or forever hold your peace is where you probably have heard that. It's something that is said in court, and it's not a very common phrase, but it basically means, to be quiet. Let's see here. Alfonso, hello, Teacher Bob. Can you help us understand how to understand better eyes versus ice? Thank you very much. So these are my eyes. So I'm going to say it really, really slowly. Eyes, eyes. These are my eyes. When I drink really cold water, sometimes I put ice in it. So eyes, ice. The words actually are a different length when you say them. These are my eyes, and I would put ice. Ice is very fast. Ice. I would put ice in here. I don't have ice in here. So, morning, Lucas.
Morning.
Sorry, I'm just saying hi to one of my children who is awake. So, I think you've met him before, actually. He was in a live stream like 9 months ago in the summer. He came home from work and he said hi, but I'll let you see if you can figure that one out. Next question from Sherry. Let's see here. This is, hello, Mr. Bob. Could you please tell us about your daily routine and managing your own business between your work, making videos, and learning new languages? Stay safe. So I'm very, very busy. Starting next year, I might be a little bit less busy at work. I'm not sure yet, but I might be teaching a little bit less as a teacher because my YouTube channel has started to get quite large. I didn't expect it to get this large. So one of the reasons I do have memberships now, one of the reasons I do thank all the people who support my channel with money is because once this COVID-19 thing is over, because that makes things a little strange right now, I might look at teaching a little bit less and maybe doing a little bit more YouTube or just doing the same. I'm not sure yet, but I am very busy. Jen runs the farm. I help Jen on the farm, but Jen does most of the growing. So that's really helpful there in terms of running my own business. But for now that I'm stuck at home, I find it to be very manageable right now. I teach my classes on the computer behind me. I do my YouTube videos. The only thing I'm sad about right now is I have some really good video ideas for all of you, but I need to be able to go to town or to the city to make them, but I'm not allowed to right now because of COVID-19. So great question, Sherry. Thanks for asking that. As things go, my life will probably not change much at all. Let's see here. Next question is from Rita. Let me get that question up here. Rita says, hi teacher, what does it mean, obviously and overwhelming? Thank you. When something is obvious, or when you say obviously, it means it's very clear to people. It's obvious to you that I like teaching English on YouTube, okay? That should be obvious. It's no secret, okay? It's very clear to all of you that I like doing this. So if someone said to you, does Bob the Canadian like teaching English on YouTube? You could respond and say, obviously, he makes a new video every week and he does 2 live streams. Obviously, he likes doing it. So that's how you would use that word. And then when something is overwhelming, it means that it causes you stress or it causes you to not enjoy it. So if I didn't like doing live streams, I would say this is overwhelming. It makes me nervous and I don't like doing it. I actually do really like doing it though, just so you know. Hopefully you're not confused with that one. I love doing this, okay? That was just an example. Let's see here. So I'll answer this very quickly, but not in detail. Sarah says, I'm always confused about conditionals, how they can be used in daily life. So the one thing I would recommend you do learn is how to use I would, I could, I should. Okay, those are the big ones. You can also think about it as, Here, just let me give you some examples. If I was thirsty, I would drink some tea. If I was rich, I could travel more. If I want to be a good dad, I should buy my kids food. So there's just 3 example sentences. Hopefully they help you a little bit, but it is a complex verb conjugation and you might need to do some more research about that. Sam, hi teacher Bob. It's Sam from Taiwan. Are you considered a person with a sense of humor by people around you? I think so, although I'm not sure. My brothers and sisters and I are, I think, all very funny people. When we get together, we do enjoy each other's company a lot and we laugh a lot, okay? So I think I'm from a family of people who are very, who I think have a good sense of humor, who like to laugh and like to joke around. When you joke around, you say things to make other people smile or laugh. And we tell jokes sometimes if we've heard a good joke. Let's see here. Let's see. Mary the Iranian. Hi, teacher Bob. Would you please define these for me? Thanks. Shake up sludge. I'm not sure, but when you shake up something, when you shake something up, it means that literally I could take this and if I had a lid, I could go like up and down and I could shake it. But when you shake something up, it means you ask a lot of questions or you ask things that make people think about what they're doing. So let's say at work, someone is working on a big project and you kind of shake it up a bit by asking a lot of questions. I'm not sure about your second question though, which is sludge. So sludge is like anything that's like mud or that comes out of a sewer even can be referred to as sludge. Sometimes the river has sludge floating on it. It's like gross bubbles and brown stuff. So I'm not sure. You should just look up the word sludge and find a definition of that. I'm not sure if you were asking about a phrase with sludge in it. Let's see here. Next question is from Salih Abid from Saudi. Hello, Mr. Bob Al-Kindi. I wish you happiness and health. What is the longest day in northern Canada and the shortest day? We have 13 hours and a couple of minutes in KSA. So I don't know the total length, but the shortest day in Canada is in December. I believe it's around the 20th to the 22nd. Towards the end of December, we have the shortest day. On that day, it is dark, usually by 4:30 in the afternoon. And the longest day in Canada takes place in June. Towards the end of June, between the 20th and the 22nd, we have the longest day. And on that day, it doesn't get dark till about 10 o'clock at night or later. So it's quite a difference between those 2 months for sure. Daniel from Czech. Let me get that question posted here. Let's see. Hello, Teacher Bob. Do you like the sound of the British accent, especially the Scottish one? Thanks. I like all English accents. I even like English accents from people who have learned English as a second language. So yes, I do like the Scottish accent. I like the British accent. I like the Irish accent. When people speak English as a second language, I really enjoy the Spanish accent when people speak English. There's an Italian accent when people speak English. There is a Dutch accent when people speak English. Because I had Dutch grandparents, they had a little bit of an accent. When Dutch people speak English, when people from Holland speak English, I don't know if I can do a good job of this, but they sound like this. They say things like, well, I'm going to drink a cup of tea right now because I'm very, very thirsty. That's how my grandparents sounded. I hope that didn't offend anybody, but my grandparents had what you would call a thick Dutch accent when they spoke English. So once again, when they came over, they would say to my parents, they would say, really, really, really like a cup of tea right now. Thank you very much. So that's my really bad impression of a Dutch English accent, which I heard a lot of when I was a kid. Because a lot of my grandparents' friends had that accent. I'm not sure you could understand me. The next question is a grammar question, so I'm going to skip it because it's just, this is from Wow Franca. It's just too hard to explain. Let me go to the next question though. I do want to say to Tiago Macedo, thank you so much, Tiago, for becoming a member. That's awesome of you. Thank you very much. In about 10 minutes, a little more than 10 minutes, I will turn the chat into members only, and members will be able to chat and ask questions directly. But Ahmed says, hello, Bob. I want to buy or to adopt a dog, but I just don't know what place should I go and what should I say? Please help me and thanks. So if you were in Canada, I'm not sure where you are, Ahmed, but if you were in Canada, I would go to an animal shelter and I would go to see if they have any dogs available for adoption. If you wanted to buy a puppy or a dog, I would go to a pet store. Unfortunately, in Canada, both are closed right now because of COVID-19, but that's where I would go if I needed to go and if I wanted to adopt a dog. So that's where I would go. Let's go to the next question. Let me actually delete a few questions here. Sorry if I'm talking too fast today. I feel quite energetic and quite hyper. That's another way to say it, by the way. Earlier we had a question about how do you say you're feeling energetic. I'm feeling quite hyper. Let's see. Suiji says, hi Bob, how are you? My question is how to use literally in spoken English. So when you do something literally, it means that you actually did it. When you do something figuratively, it means that you're exaggerating a bit. So if I said, yesterday I went for a walk and when I came back, I literally drank 5 cups of water, it means that I actually drank 5 cups of water. If I said, I went for a walk yesterday and when I got back, I drank 20 cups of water, I drank pretty much 20 cups of water, that would be me speaking somewhat figuratively, okay? But here's the problem. In English, sometimes people use the word literally wrong. So they'll say, oh, I was so thirsty, I literally drank 18 cups of water, when they didn't actually drink 18 cups of water. So you have to be careful. In informal English, native English speakers are very free with the use of the word literally. So I wouldn't always believe what people say when they say literally. Like last week, I literally worked 200 hours, but I didn't actually. So just be careful with that word. Let's see here. Next question is a grammar question. Mikal has the next question. So Mikal says, good morning, Bob. Could you please let us know, when do people say with that said or having said, and what these mean exactly? I appreciate your time. So if I make a statement and at the end of the statement I say, okay, with that being said, let's move on to the next question. Or if I say, having said that, there are a couple of other explanations. Let me back up and think of two example sentences. So if I said to you, with that said or having said, it's a turning point in a conversation where you add new information. So if I say, Canadians, the most popular drink in Canada is coffee. But having said that, I should also mention that the most popular alcoholic drink is beer. Or I could say, let me find it back. The most popular drink in Canada, I think, is coffee. With that said, though, I should mention that beer is probably the most common alcoholic beverage. So it's a way to add another piece of information when you are saying something. So hopefully that made some sense. Madi has the next question. So although there are lots of questions left, I won't be able to answer them all. In spite of the fact that we have 25 minutes left, I won't be able to answer all the questions. So Madi's question was, could you tell me what's the difference between even, although, and in spite? So I used although and I used in spite in a couple example sentences there. Hopefully that helps you start to get a sense of the differences between the two. Let's see here. Brahim has the next question. Let's see here. Brahim Aksas from Morocco. Please, what is the difference between language acquisition and language learning? Moreover, stay home and keep safe. Thank you. I will stay home and keep safe. So language learning is when you intentionally take classes to learn a language. It's when you hire a tutor or a teacher to teach you a language. So you are involved then in language learning. Language acquisition is similar, but usually we use this to talk about people who learn a language naturally. So if you move to an English-speaking country and you have a job where you need to speak English and you have English-speaking friends, we would say that you are learning language through acquisition, right? So it's language acquisition. You're not in a class learning it, but you're learning it from other people. Generally, we use that term to talk about kids, right? Kids have really good language acquisition. If you put a young child who speaks English and they go and live with their uncle and aunt who speak Spanish, that child will just naturally learn Spanish, okay? Because their language acquisition skills are really, really good. Let's see here. Next question is from Tauvidas from Lithuania. Hello, Bob. Could you tell me the difference between American and an American? Does the same rule apply with Canadian or any other nation? So if I say my friend is American, or if I say my friend is an American, it means the same thing, and we do say both, okay? If I say my friend is Canadian, or if I say my friend is a Canadian, it means the same thing, okay? So interesting, I've never thought about that before. That is a great question, but I could easily say that my brother-in-law is American, or I could say my brother-in-law is an American, and both are completely correct, okay? So that does work with American and Canadian. So I could say, I'm pretty sure he's here. I think Learn English with This Guy is here. Hi, Learn English with This Guy. So I could say Learn English with This Guy is American, or I could say Learn English with This Guy is an American, okay? So Learn English with This Guy he is American or he is an American. Both would be correct. And he could say Bob is Canadian or Bob is a Canadian. Both would be correct. That's cool. I never really thought about that before. Just another way that English is a little bit strange. Let's see here. Igor from Russia. Hi, Bob. This is my 2 questions here. What's the difference between the 2 verbs meet and meet up? Thank you for your help. So if I go to meet with someone, or if I go to meet up with someone, it means the same thing. Like I could say, tomorrow I'm going to meet my brother. Tomorrow I'm going to meet up with my brother. They mean the same thing. They have slightly different connotations, but they are similar enough that you could use both for sure. Yeah. And there is a noun as well now, meetup. You can go to a meetup. So sometimes YouTubers will host a meetup. A meetup is a time when people can come and see that YouTuber in person. So someday I might have a meetup in Toronto. I might go to Toronto when there's no COVID-19, and I might tell people there is a meetup in Toronto and you can actually see me in person. I don't know if I'm doing that, but that is the noun version of meetup. So you can meet up with someone or you can go to a meetup. But a meetup is a special kind of thing. It's usually when like a professional athlete might host a meetup where you're allowed to come and they'll sign something. Let's see here. Clariston has the next question. So a little change in how it's asked. The question would be, is it permitted to run on the streets in Canada? So normally, yes. Right now, yes, but you need to stay 2 meters away from everyone around you. So yes, you can run on the street. You can run on the sidewalk in Canada. In fact, there is a person who I see who goes running every day past my house for exercise. So yes, definitely it is allowed, but there are some restrictions right now. Let's see. Tom says, hi, Bob. How are you? My question is, what is the rule for accent marks in English? Thank you so much. So except for some very rare cases, there are no English words that have accents, okay? There is the province of Quebec. You'll notice in the chat I put an accent on the E. But normally in Canada, normally in English, there are a few examples of words with accents, but there are not very many. And in fact, the words that have accents, I'm going to look a few of them up. If you forget the accent, no one really minds. Words with accents in English. So let's see here. Resume, tete-a-tete, because we borrowed that from the French. Mostly, if there is an accent, it's a very rare word, and if you leave the accent off, no one is going to mind. Because I can't even think of words in English with accents right now. We do have some French words that we use, though, where you do have accents. Let's see here. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the question from Dimitro from Ukraine. Hi, Bob. If you were watching your live streams, which question would you ask yourself? And was mine grammatically correct? So let me read it again. If you were watching your live streams, which question would you ask yourself? Yeah, a little spelling mistake on yourself, but I think you knew that. Definitely correct. If I was watching me, I would probably ask questions not about English. I would probably ask, how long have you been doing this? How did you get started with your YouTube channel? Why do you keep doing this? Are you crazy? I'm not really crazy, but in English, when someone does something and it looks like a lot of hard work, or we're not sure why they do it, we sometimes say, are you crazy? Like, why do you spend all this time making YouTube videos? Are you crazy? And it's just a way of saying, do you actually like doing what you're doing? Let's see here. Lolly Lolly says, bonjour Bob le Canadien. Notice I say Canadien, not Canadienne, because if I say the N too hard, it means I'm a girl. But anyways, family is or family are? Team is or team are? I heard both and I don't know which is correct. Merci beaucoup. So family is important to me. My family is really big. My family has lots of people in it. I would never say family are, okay? For your second one, the team is important to me. The team is winning. You would never say team are, okay? So if you've heard family are or team are, it's probably incorrect because even though in a family there are a lot of people, it is singular, and even though there is a lot of people on a team, or there are a lot of people on a team, sorry, little mistake there, you would still say team is. So the team is winning, the team is having a great season, the team is hoping to win tonight's game, or the family is going on vacation, or my family is going on vacation. There you go. Thanks, Lolly Lolly, that was a great question. Let's see here. Mary says, can you show me the resource to improve my listening skills? So the best resource, in my opinion, to improve your listening skills is right in front of you, and it is YouTube. I highly recommend that you use YouTube to watch music videos that are called lyric videos. So watch a video where it is the song you like and the words are on the screen. And then secondly, I recommend that you watch some people on YouTube that either are just funny or that help you learn English. And then lastly, if you can listen to podcasts or if you can listen to the radio in English, find an English radio station and just have it on all the time. Hey, I want to say thanks to Learn American English with this guy. Thanks for the mention, Northern Cousin, no problem. Learn English is mentioning that because we in the comments the other day chatted about how Canadians often refer to Americans as our American cousins, okay, or our cousins to the south, because Canada and America, they're separate countries, but there is so much trade back and forth between our countries that we are very closely connected. So Canadians often refer to Americans as their American cousins or their cousins to the south. Let's see here. A little bit of interpretation on the next question. Saeed Akil, get knotted, get lost, take a hike, any difference? So I don't use the phrase get knotted. That might be a British phrase. I am not familiar with it. But the phrases get lost or take a hike simply mean go away, and they mean the same thing, okay? So if my kids are playing outside, and sometimes kids fight, one of my kids might say, leave me alone, take a hike. And that means please go away. Or they could say get lost, and that means please go away. It doesn't actually mean please go away. It just means go away. It's a very direct and strict way of saying go away. Let me get the next question here. Let's see. The next question, just a small question. Arazu says, hi Bob, what's the difference between I was and I were? So you wouldn't say I were, you would say I was. Yesterday I was running, yesterday I was walking, yesterday I was going to the store. You would, with we, you would say yesterday we were running, yesterday we were talking, yesterday we were going to the store. So just a little bit of a conjugation difference there. Let's see here. Next question, just going to take me a little sec here to figure out as well. Kevin Kuo from Taiwan. Hi Bob, could you explain which mean and which mean is? Thank you. So Kevin, I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. So which mean? So I can think of a sentence like if I was to say, you know, people love to go to the cottage, which means that they like the great outdoors. So what I did is I connected two thoughts. I am thirsty, which means I should drink some tea. So I'm connecting two things in a sentence. That's the best example I can come up with. Hey folks, I'm going to do a little switch here for a sec. In a moment, you will see that the live chat is going to go to members only. Once again, thank you very much to all of my members. Let me just double check that that actually happened now that I say it. Save. I was hoping it would. Yes, there we go. So I will switch chat back to normal in a bit. But if you are a member of my channel, if you have clicked the join button, you can now freely ask me questions in the chat. I am going to keep answering questions from the list as well. But first question is from Panthera. Hey, everybody's ready with questions. Does the verb discuss simply mean simply talk, have a conversation in general, or does it mean a bit violent? So discuss is a calm discussion, okay, a calm conversation. Usually when you discuss something, it's not, you're not doing it harshly. It's usually like, hey, can we discuss something? Elias Gomez, hello, Professor Roberto. All right, can you tell a joke that is very common in Canada? So I'll tell you a knock-knock joke that's very common, and it's this. Knock, knock, and then the other person says, who's there? And then I say, who? And then they say, who, and then I say, is there an owl in here? So that's a really challenging joke to understand. You might want to look up what a knock-knock joke is to understand it, and you'll need to know that the bird that we call an owl says who. So it's a little play on words, Elias. Hopefully you understood it. Alina, I was shadowing you during yesterday's live stream, and after that I did really well during my English class in Skype with my colleagues, so the technique really works. Yes, that's awesome. So again, what shadowing means, what Alina is talking about, it's when you listen to someone talk, you let them say one or two sentences in English on YouTube or while watching TV, and then you pause, and then you say out loud what they said. And then you hit play, you listen again, you pause, and you say out loud. Very cool. Let's see here. Gleb says, hello, Teacher Bob. Is it correct to say make a friendship or develop a friendship? Thank you for help and for your lessons. I would most likely say we are becoming friends. So Joe and I, we are becoming friends. Joe and I are becoming friends. Or you could, yes, you could say we are forming a friendship, okay? The two that you mentioned, probably I wouldn't say them that way. You could say that you're developing a friendship, but not make a friendship. You would say that you are becoming friends, you are forming a friendship, etc. Great question, Gleb. Isabel, hello, I have one question. What outlet means? For example, you need to be careful of any electrical outlet. Yeah, I don't think you can see them, but down there, right here, this is an electrical outlet. And yes, in Canada, we call that an outlet. So you plug things into an outlet. Yes, you need to be careful around electrical outlets. Let's see here. Vitali says, when I was learning how to use the verb to wish, I was told to say, I wish I were. Oh, interesting. Yeah, did I make a mistake there? I wish I were better at baseball. I wish I were. So there is a way to use I were. Sorry, I was thinking in a much too simple of way about that. So that's great, Vitali. Thank you. Because you can say things like, you know, I wish I were better at exercising every day. I wish I were, yeah, interesting. I wish I was better. I wish I were. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to research that one a bit. That's cool though. Lolly, when I am angry and I say, get away out of my sight, is it rude? Yes. If you say to someone, get lost, get out of my sight, or take a hike, it is somewhat rude, okay? So we sometimes hear children say it. We don't often hear adults say it. Vitali, it would be a good lesson to tell us about different English accents like Irish, South African, and maybe Russian. I heard English speakers consider Russian accent rude. It depends. I personally don't hear a lot of Russian accents because there are not a lot of Russian immigrants around me. So Elias says, thanks. No problem. Smiley face from Panthera. Lolly gives me the sideways cool face. Annette Manzi. Hello, Bob. Could you make a video on the different uses of the verb to get? I don't use it very often because there are too many meanings, I think. Yes, I will do a video on the verb to get because there are a lot of meanings. So yes, Annette, I will do that. Alina says, Vitaly Smirnov, yeah, the same, or if I were you. Oh, that's another good one, Alina. Yes. If you say, if I were you, I would quit your job and find a new one, if I were you. But you could also say, if I was you. If I was you. So interesting. I'm curious now to look that up a bit. Let's see here. Elias, are you Saw the first live stream you did in the last one. How are you about that? You should all go watch my first live stream. I watch it probably every 6 months. I go and I watch my first live stream, and it just makes me laugh. Remember, I used the phrase, it cracks me up. When I watch that live stream, it cracks me up. I think only 3 people were watching. I forget, but I'm probably going to watch it later today now, Elias, because that was pretty fun. So outlet is equal with the socket, right? In Canada, we do not call that a socket. We call it an outlet. In Canada, we have where you put a light bulb in, we call that a light socket. So slight difference, but Panthera, you should figure out what country you're talking about because it might be different in England. Gonzalo, the time goes by too fast. It does go really fast, doesn't it? Sorry about that. Thanks, Bob from Lolly Lolly. Oh, and then, or where are you? You can say that. You can say that, Vitaly. It's not as common, but you know, where are you? No, I wouldn't say that, would I? I would definitely say if I were you or if I was you. That's how I use those 2 phrases. I don't know if I would say where are you, although it makes, you know, people would understand if you said that for sure. If you have more questions, folks, go ahead and ask them in the chat. I'm going to get another question from my long list. And thank you so much, members, for asking questions. It's kind of a fun part of the live stream for me because it reminds me of when I was doing live streams and there was only 20 or 30 people. So, oh, Elena, yes, you are correct. An outlet is a mall where there are a lot of sales. Yes, so outlet has more than one meaning, okay? We generally in Canada would call it an outlet mall. So we have an outlet mall close to us, and it's where you can buy things for very, very cheap. So yes, outlet does have more than one meaning for sure. Eugene from Etobicoke says, good morning, Bob. What difference between surgical N95 mask and respirator N95? So my understanding is that if it is an N95 mask, it is a mask that is good at protecting you from the COVID virus. But Eugene, I don't know the exact details between them, okay? I think a surgical mask is slightly different, but I am not a medical expert. So welcome to the live stream. I just have 2 members that joined. Unfortunately, I am unable to pronounce the member who's looks like their avatar might be the character Deadpool, but welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. And also to Jingjin Liu, who I hope I didn't pronounce your name wrong, but thank you so much for becoming members. That's awesome of you. Lolly says, can Oscar be affected by coronavirus? My understanding is that you need to be careful around pets, but Lolly, I don't know for sure. I don't know a lot about pets. So Elias says, I saw the first live stream you did. There were 7 people, I think. Yeah, possibly. I should go look again. Fun times. I remember being excited because someone actually came. So, good to see you, sir. My name is Frank. Well, hello, Frank. Thank you for becoming a member. I have a question, which is that I have a hard time telling the difference between electric, electronic, and electrical. Okay, so electronic is usually used to talk about things like, you see this radio above me? We would call this is something that is considered electronics, okay? So radios and those kinds of things we would say are electronics. Electric simply refers to anything powered by electricity. So you can have an electric bike, you can have an electric car, and then electrical refers to the wires that are in the wall. So I would hire an electrician to do the electrical work in my house, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, hi, Eugene from Etobicoke. Welcome as a member. I get it now. Let's see here. In this case, I can be quarantined. Yes, veterinarians say that pets can have COVID, but they cannot spread it to people. Ah, I see. I guess I saw the first video too. The atmosphere here has always been great and nice. Thank you, Alina. Thank you very much. Lolly says, thank you, Bob the Canadian. And Gonzalo says, thanks so much, dear Bob, for teaching us well. So folks, I'm going to switch the chat back on and let everyone else back in. I'm going to answer a few more questions as well. Let me get the next one. Thank you again to my members for helping me out and to be able to do this well. Passan says, how to speak coherently and make sense. So practice, practice, practice. I know I sound like a broken record, in English, when you say that you sound like a broken record, it means you're saying the same thing over and over again. But yes, practice, Passan. In order to speak coherently, writing helps a lot. So if you can write out things that you think you might need to say in the future, try that. But certainly, if you can get into English conversations wherever possible, that would be awesome. Let's see here. Next one is, let me just find a couple good questions yet. Nada says, "Hey Bob, I wish you have a great day. I hope that you have a great day. Do you know any educational chat rooms for practicing English?" I do not. Most of the time, once you get to the point where you want to have English conversations, you usually have to pay for that. Usually you do. I know some people do start little groups on Facebook or WeChat or WhatsApp, and they have little conversation groups. I don't do that because I don't really have time to do that. But I hope that you are able to find something like that. I really do. So folks, let me just do a couple more, maybe one more question here from Ying. And Ying says, "Greetings from Taipei. Besides Niagara Falls, are there any other must-visit attractions, landmarks in eastern part of Canada?" So in the eastern part of Canada, I would visit Prince Edward Island. It's very beautiful there. I would visit Nova Scotia. I would visit the Bay of Fundy. And certainly I would take a ferry to Prince Edward Island. I would also visit Quebec City in the province of Quebec. It has a large old walled portion to the city. So if you go there, that's great as well. Ziv Pupko says, welcome. Oh yes, sorry, has become a member. Welcome, Ziv. Thank you so much for joining and becoming a member and helping to support the channel. That's awesome of you. Very good. Folks, this is the end. So I'm going to say bye to all of you. Remember, please come back and watch portions of this video again tomorrow with the English subtitles on. I am sorry that I did not get through all the questions. If you are not a subscriber here, please subscribe. It's free. There's no cost to you. Click the red button to subscribe. If you want to support my channel, click the blue button to join. I don't know where that button is. There's a button somewhere. But certainly don't forget that Tuesday there will be a new video from me coming out. Next Friday, we will do a new live English lesson. I'm going to, on my members only community page, I'm going to ask you what you want the topic to be for next week's Friday lesson. So as members, I want to hear from you what you would like me to do a lesson on, and then I will put that together. Anyways, bye. I'm going to push the button. I'm going to have a nice Saturday afternoon now. Thanks to Dave and Todd, who work very hard to keep the chat in awesome shape. Thanks again to the two of them. And I think that's it. I think that I should push the button to stop this. I'm rambling on at this point, and now I'm pushing the wrong buttons. There's the button.